Let's be real for a second. Have you ever thought that, being the Christian is really more about your personal relationship with God than being plugged into one specific church? It's a super common feeling. So many people think I can serve God just fine on my own, and they focus on this big idea of the universal church. But what if the New Testament paints a totally different picture? What if being a Christian almost always meant belonging to a local church? Today, we're going to explore this really powerful metaphor that shows why your local church isn't just a nice option. It's the main construction site for God's most important project.
Wow, talk about a wake-up call, right? This question comes from the prophet Haggai, thousands of years ago. The people he was talking to had just come back from exile, and what did they do? They got busy. They started building their own comfortable lives, fixing up their own houses, while God's house, the actual temple, was just sitting there in ruins. This was a sharp, urgent challenge to get their priorities straight.
So let's bring that home. What if that ancient challenge is actually for us, right now, in our time? Let's dive into the New Testament's blueprint and really see what it means to be a part of building God's house today.
Okay, first things first, the house or temple that God is building today, it's not made of stone and mortar. Not at all. The New Testament completely redefines the whole concept. The divine blueprint shows that the building materials, well, they're actually people, believers, just like you and me.
Here's the first part of the plan, and I just love this imagery from the Apostle Peter. He says believers are living stones. Just think about that for a second. You're not just a visitor dropping by the construction site. You are the building material, being shaped and fitted together with others to create this incredible spiritual house where God actually lives.
Now, of course, any great building needs a cornerstone, right? That's the main foundational stone that aligns the entire structure and holds it all together. And in this divine project, that cornerstone is none other than Christ himself. He's the one who makes sure all of us individual living stones are joined together properly, growing into something holy.
And here's the final piece, and this is where it gets really personal. Our role in this isn't passive. We don't just sit there. We are active builders, laying our own contributions right on top of that foundation of Christ. And, this is crucial, the quality of our work, what we actually contribute, is going to be tested one day. Okay, so let's pull all this together. You see the pattern here, right? Across these different scriptures, it's crystal clear. Christ is always the foundation. Believers are always the active building blocks. And the result? It's consistently called God's temple, his home. This isn't just some nice idea. It's a central theme of what it even means to be a follower of Jesus. So we've got this grand, spiritual construction project happening. Awesome. But where does the work actually happen? Where do you show up with your hard hat, ready to lay your stone? This is where this whole concept gets super practical and zeroes right in on your life. And this brings us to a really important distinction. See, it's easy to love the idea of the universal church, all believers everywhere throughout all of time, but the Bible's focus is way more down to earth. Admiring the church from a distance without getting involved locally? That's kind of like admiring a beautiful cathedral, but never once picking up a tool to help build or maintain it. The New Testament is clear. Our main contribution happens in a specific, tangible, real-life place, the local church.
I mean, just look at this verse. When the Apostle Paul wrote this, he wasn't writing a philosophical tweet to some abstract global group. No way. He was writing to the messy, imperfect, very real local church in a city called Corinth. And that little word "you" is plural. He was saying, you all, together, as a congregation, you are God's temple. The message is unmistakable. Building up a local church is building God's temple. Period.
All right, so for all builders on this project, it makes sense that eventually there's going to be an inspection. The Bible is very clear that our contributions, what we build, will be evaluated. It's not about if we worked, but how we worked. It's a quality check.
The imagery here is just so powerful. The Bible asks, are you contributing things of lasting, eternal value? Things like gold, silver, and precious stones. These represent things like faithful service, genuine love, solid doctrine. Or are your contributions more like wood, hay, and straw? Superficial stuff, self-serving actions, things that are temporary and just won't survive the test of fire. Now, we have to be super clear on this point. This judgment has absolutely nothing to do with earning or losing your salvation. If you're in Christ, you are secure. This is all about the reward you might receive for the quality and the faithfulness of your service within God's temple, the local church. It's an evaluation of your work, not a threat to your salvation.
So, what does building with gold actually look like in real life? How can you and I contribute something of real, lasting value? Okay, let's get practical. Let's open up the toolbox and look at the ways we can all participate in this divine construction project.
It really starts with the spiritual and relational stuff, the mortar that holds all us living stones together. Things like actually showing up for worship and prayer, being hospitable to build real friendships, encouraging people. These are the priceless, fireproof materials that build a truly strong spiritual house.
Next up, the practical and financial tools. And hey, don't ever underestimate the value of serving in a ministry, whether you're setting up chairs, welcoming people at the door, or giving faithfully. These actions are like the scaffolding and the support beams that allow the whole temple to grow and flourish. They are absolutely vital.
And finally, we've got the tools that protect the temple's integrity. This means supporting solid, biblical teaching, encouraging our leaders, and maybe most importantly, focusing on our own personal growth in Christ-like character. Because at the end of the day, a strong temple can only be built with strong, healthy stones.
So we end right back where we started, with a challenge. God is building His temple, and He's doing it through local churches all over the world. You are called to be a living stone and a faithful builder in one of them. That day of inspection is coming, so the question for all of us, the one we really need to sit with, is this: what materials are you using?